Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have some news to share about that CNN town hall with Trump last week, also some internal polling that kind of has Republicans freaking out. As you guys all know, CNN hosted a town hall with Donald Trump last week. The media meltdown, in my opinion, was unnecessary. I am a big believer in the idea that you do not interrupt your opponent when they're making mistakes. You just don't. You give them more rope, you let them hang themselves. As far as I'm concerned, let Trump be Trump. Let him do it every night of the week. It is going to give Democrats so much fodder, so much material for their ads. I mean, just the abortion stuff alone was just pure gold that he can't figure out his position on it. You know, he lied. He acted like a sexist ass clown. He filibustered and spewed out, I won't even say word salad, it was word vomit, especially when he was asked things like about abortion, things that he doesn't want to answer. And it reminded everyone of the chaos and the lunacy that exhausted the country after 4 years. And now we know for a fact, not every audience member was happy with his answers and his behavior. It seemed like it, right? If you look at the clips, it seems like, oh, he's just bringing the house down. Everybody is loving this. Well, it was just revealed that the audience was forbidden basically from booing. I mean, I guess Trump and his supporters are right when they call CNN fake news, right? Because, I mean, if they wouldn't allow the audience to have an organic reaction to what was going on, that is fake news. So here's what happened. Here's what went down and how we know this. Puck News Outlet interviewed an audience member, and he told them, quote, "The floor manager came out ahead of time and said, 'Please do not boo. Please be respectful.' You were allowed to applaud. And I think that set the tone where people were going to try their best to keep this between the navigational beacons, and that if they felt compelled to applaud, they would, but they weren't going to have an outburst or they weren't going to boo an answer." And a journalist who apparently attended that town hall said that when Trump was talking about his tweets and various other subjects, he, quote, "lost the audience." And according to at least one former Republican representative, fundraisers are freaking out too. They're just not happy about Trump's performance. He said that they're, quote, "scared to death." Politico also published details about internal Republican polling, which shows that Trump has a very high disapproval rating in 3 key battleground states. So Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. And in a head-to-head matchup against Biden overall, in states, I should say, that lean Democrat, so like Colorado, Minnesota, a few others, DeSantis outperforms Trump, but he's still either just tied roughly or running a little bit behind Biden. And one Republican fundraising operative told the news outlet that many donors have moved on from Trump. They said, quote, "I know this from all my conversations around the country in the last 6 months. The major donor network has walked. They're looking for new leadership, and 85% of them are waiting for DeSantis." Now, I know what you guys are all probably thinking, because I'm thinking it too, right? DeSantis is almost as bad as Trump, maybe even worse, because he actually would be competent and evil, whereas Trump is just evil, right? Here's why I don't think DeSatan is really the threat that Democrats think he is, or that the donor class believes. His culture war BS, his anti-woke BS, is not polling well. And independent voters, especially swing voters, are not a fan of his type of legislation. That the things that are really popular in Florida are going over like a lead balloon with these independents and with people who are swing voters. There's a pollster group called Engageus. I've mentioned them before. They conduct ongoing focus groups. They literally do this monthly with swing voters. These are people who voted for Obama, and then they voted for Trump, and then they voted for Biden. They just can't seem to make up their minds. And in their recent focus group, the vast majority were completely turned off by the policies that DeSantis is implementing in Florida. So, for example, only a small minority of this focus group agreed that critical race theory should be banned from schools. And they asked questions, framing it in a way that you would hear it from a right-wing politician like DeSantis. So they frame the question of, or not really a question, but like their answer to a statement from a politician. So they would throw out a statement like, CRT should be banned because it teaches students to hate each other and to hate the country, blah, blah, blah. Very, very few agreed with that. Mostly everybody said, no, I think it's important that we teach our history. And then only one person agreed with the statement saying, quote, "We need to oppose woke cities and states that have harmed public safety by coddling criminals." And out of 14 of the focus group participants, only 3 said that they would be attracted to a candidate who espoused anti-woke views. And a lot of them had no idea what a lot of the buzzwords, what a lot of the different buzz acronyms were that you hear on Fox News or on right-wing media. People were like, yeah, I don't know what this means. I don't know what ESG means, or I vaguely know, but I couldn't tell you what it stands for. I don't really understand its significance. Like they asked about DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Most of them had no clue what it was all about. I think one person out of the whole focus group knew what it stood for. So, all these right wingers are throwing out all these buzzwords, all these acronyms, and it's supposed to have this big impact on people and scare people away. But unless you're in, the Twitter bubble, the alt-right news bubble, and very online, you have no clue, and it doesn't matter to your daily life. So anyway, but back to these polls, the Fox-owned Wall Street Journal published very similar findings to what I've been talking about. This was back in March, but it's worth repeating if you guys, even if you heard it or if you weren't aware of this, by almost a 2-to-1 majority. Their poll respondents said that it concerned them more that some schools were banning books and censoring important topics. So only about a third of the people that they polled said the opposite. They said they were more concerned about certain books and certain topics being allowed in school. So yeah, the ultra-conservative, ultra-Christian, white Republican donor class, they think DeSantis is the greatest thing, but it's because they're living in their little white donor bubbles, right? The only people they're associating with are other very wealthy and disconnected people from the average American. And they see, oh, he's so popular in Florida. His programs are so popular in Florida. Okay, well, what about his national appeal? Because that is what is going to matter. When the majority, I believe, in this country sees what and who he is and what he wants to do to our country throughout the U.S., they're in for a rude awakening. They have no clue. They wouldn't know an average American if they walked up and punched them in the face. I mean, they're just clueless. So anyway, guys, when I hear more, I will let you know. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. If you can donate, appreciate that as well. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.